Aren't you tired of seeing those ads that show $400,000 homes for like a $1,400 a month payment? And you go like, I can't believe this is real. And I'll tell you, it's not. Is it legal? Yes, it's legal, but it's not real. And I'll show you how these fake ads are actually getting through without anybody going to jail, and how you can see through the BS that some of these builders are putting out there. By the way, I love my builders, and most of them don't operate like this, but a few do, and it kind of makes me crazy. So obviously these hooks, these like artificially cheap monthly payments that they're advertising, they're all designed to get you into the door, and they are designed to help make you emotionally attached to this home, so that whenever you find out the real payment based on your circumstances, that you would choose to figure out some way to make that higher payment work, even though it's nowhere near the artificially low payment that was advertised on the front end. So today we're going to go over like how these ads work, how to spot them, and how to see through the BS. Also, how to figure out what the real payment is. My name is Bradley Pounds, and I am a real estate broker of 23 years in the state of Texas. I'm also licensed in the state of Texas as a mortgage loan officer. I got that so that I could talk to you guys about rates and stuff and stay compliant. You'll see disclosures pop up on this video periodically so that we stay on the right side of everything. But FYI, what we're going to do here is a takedown of some other ads that are out there, and just kind of this general class. I can't put a specific ad on there. What I did is I took a builder ad and I remixed it with AI. These are real numbers, but I swapped out all of the information and stuff like that so that they don't sue me. so you know, it's a fake neighborhood name, but these are real data, the real payments that were advertised word for word. It's crazy how low. And of course you would see a home and go, I want to know how that's possible. So of course you would click on it. I would click on it. Nobody would blame you. But how does it happen? We're going to use an example of another ad that we saw that was $400,000, a $400,000 home being advertised for a $1,400 a month payment, which you and I know really isn't a thing. So how did they do it? How did they keep it legal? I'm going to show you the 5 tricks that they use to sort of get this one by the regulators and get you in the door, because of what I call the tortured math that they use to get you to emotionally attach to this home, to hopefully, once you find out what the real payment is, you're so in love with the house that you just buy it anyway. That's the game, right? So let's go ahead and dive into the 5 tricks that they use, the 5 ways that they make this happen and keep it legal. The first thing that they're going to do is, in the ad, you're going to notice an asterisk. That's the little star character. And then you're going to see somewhere on there, there's a disclosure with like tiny 4 to 6 point type font that you can barely read. I have to put on my readers to make that happen, right? See what the terms are. Now, when you look at that, it usually contains one or more of these tricks that we're going to break down. The first one is that the mathematics that they use, the calculation assumes that you are putting down at least 20%. Now, a 20% down payment, not super common among first-time homebuyers, especially after 3 or 4 record-setting inflation years. Am I right? Not a lot of people in the first-time homebuyer bracket who are stacking up 20% to put down. So that's not very realistic from the jump, especially at first-time homebuyer price point. So they assume this massive down payment that most people don't put down. On a $395,000 home, this is the one I saw from a different ad example, that's going to be $79,000. So what we would do is we would figure instead, what's a much more realistic down payment for a first-time home buyer to put down, somewhere in that 0 to 5% range. So the 5% range is what we're going to use today. About 19 grand on that $395,000 home. That feels a lot more doable for a lot of people. Now, obviously, if we take the down payment down, we put the mortgage goes up, and we're going to see that that monthly payment goes up precipitously as well. Trick number 2 is that they're going to calculate the payment excluding any property taxes or drastically reduced estimated property taxes. This is a big no-no for me, because in Texas, we don't have a state income tax. That means that we have one of the highest property tax rates in the US. I think we're number 6 out of all the states. So this is a big fat lie, y'all. You know, property tax rates, after you add in special districts, depending on where the home is being built, usually can be anywhere from about 1.5% of the home's value due and payable every year as your tax bill, all the way up to like 3.1% in some areas because they're in part of a special district, etc. And so on a $395,000 home, you could see that tax bill be anywhere from like $6,000 all the way up to $10,000, depending on where that home is located. So we're talking $500 a month, all the way up to $850 or $900 a month. Not $0 a month, which is what these builders are putting into the payment that goes in that fake ad that you see. Now, the real number on that house has now gone up because we lowered the down payment to something realistic. We've started to include taxes, but boy, we're not done, okay? Trick number 3 is that they exclude the homeowner's insurance expense. Now, you and I know that we have to keep insurance on the place. Your lender is going to require you to keep insurance, and it's just a general bad idea not to have it when you just plunked down $400,000 on the biggest investment of your life. So on new construction, what is true is that new construction typically does get cheaper insurance costs than a resale home of similar quality and size and location. However, it's still not free. So the estimate that we're going to use is somewhere between $100 to $200 a month for new construction. For resales, it's typically much higher. So even if we are at that $100 end, right, on a smaller home, new construction, now what we're talking about is another $100 a month that goes toward your payment. So if you're in a flood zone, or if you need additional coverage because you're in a super windy area like the Panhandle, an area that has like high risk of getting roof replacements, hail and stuff like that, then you could see that go up past $200 a month as well. Trick number 4 is that they exclude mortgage insurance. You hear this called PMI. That stands for private mortgage insurance. A lot of you are going to use government loans though, not private conventional loans. And so since those are government backed, we just call those MI. That mortgage insurance is MI. So we use the term MI instead. If you put down less than 20% on a conventional loan, then you'll have to have mortgage insurance. Some forms of government loans require you to have mortgage insurance, even if you put down a big fat down payment and keep it forever, right? So FYI, just know that there's an additional expense that can range between 0.5% of the loan amount per year, all the way up to 1% of the loan amount per year, if you didn't put down very much money and if you don't have very good credit on a conventional loan, for example. So if we were to use on a $375,000 loan, that range, that's going to add another $160 a month, all the way up to maybe $300 a month in mortgage insurance costs. That was not factored into the number in the ad. And then trick number 5, this is a big one that's going around right now. They use temporary interest rate buy downs to artificially lower the first year's payment. And then they quote that payment on the website. So here's how it works. You could do what's called a 3-2-1 buy down, which is where you start with a fixed interest rates. Builders have a lot of specials where they'll advertise lower fixed interest rates like 4.99% or something like that. When interest rates in the real world are basically 6.25%, 6.5% right now as we sit. And now, if they advertise this, then they can also buy down the rates temporarily for the first 1, 2, or 3 years. And so if they do a 3-2-1 buy down, it means that in year 1, they bought the interest rate down 3 points. So I'm only paying interest based on a rate of 1.99%. Year 2, it goes up a point to 2.99%. Year 3 goes up a point to 3.99%, and then it settles after that at that 4.99 that is my fixed rate on the actual mortgage. Well, what they're doing when they advertise is they are quoting that lowest possible number, which is the 1.99% that's only going to be good for my first 12 payments. And so that's not very helpful to me. It's just helpful for them to get you into the door, okay? Now, we're not done. Whenever we take a look at what the real payment would be, this $395,000 home, remember that they had it advertised at $1,390 per month based on using all 5 of those tricks. When we go back in and we add in what the actual fixed rate mortgage is going to be when that mortgage goes up after 3 years, when we add in those property taxes that we're estimating, when we add in that homeowner's insurance that we're estimating, also the mortgage insurance as well, and we could go ahead and throw in the HOA fee. I know, I get it. Before you eat me up in the comments, the HOA fee does not go to the mortgage company. It's technically not a part of the payment. But unlike your utilities, which you're accustomed to paying, this is a new expense for you. And so I would say, while it's not with the payment, put a little star and put it on the same line, because it's a new part of your monthly debt load, right? Your expense load. So it's kind of in there. If we add all of those things together, we end up with a payment of $3,177. So even if you extract that HOA payment, we're still at $3,100, and they had advertised $1,390. Do you see like the big stark contrast? Because they want to get you in the door, and they want to hope that somehow you'll figure out, find a rich uncle or find a cosigner or get married or something to make it work. I don't know. And so that you can actually get into this home that they sort of dangled out in front of you with the artificially low ad. This is why builders do it and why it's legal. They want you to get into a state of emotional attachment to this very home. And if they don't, then they think that you're going to go ahead and click and go to somebody else. They're probably right. Now, this isn't the only set of tricks that builders use. We'll do some bonus ones here. FYI, when they go to calculate the pricing, watch for things like these kind of BS upcharges, like lot premiums, where it didn't cost them any extra to build a house on the lot as a piece of that, larger farmland or whatever that it was that they bought and then carved up. What they're going to do is they're going to find a reason to call some of these lots superior to others and add a lot premium, whether it's something about the privacy or the view or the elevation, corner lot, something like that. And that adds a lot of money to the cost, the perceived value of the home. And the reality is that it doesn't cost them anything extra. They're just running up the bill. And then there's the we're going to pay your closing costs trick. Now, let me be slow, loud, and clear. There are a lot of builders doing a lot of great work by helping borrowers who need that help in 2025 and 2026 paying closing costs. But if you track the price of the home, there are also some builders that offer closing cost specials immediately after raising the price on the house. And so they're giving with one hand to take away with the other, and that's not really honestly giving, is it? And so just be savvy, check the price history of the home online so that you can see, is this an actual benefit, or are they just moving this expense into the sale price and getting the money out of me one way or the other? Talk about some upgrades that, also you walk into the model, the base model doesn't have this. They quote the base model price online, but of course the model that you go into has $100,000 worth of upgrades or whatnot. So just be conscious of the way that these, that the pricing is actually perceived online, or it's displayed online, because a lot of times you'll see that the floor plan is priced on something like Zillow at a certain price, and then you get to the builder office, look at their inventory, and none of their units actually start that low. So just know that you have to learn how to calculate that real payment. You start with the real P&I based on the fixed interest rate, not the special that's going to be, here and gone in 2 to 3 years. You got to add your property taxes in, add your insurance in, add your MI in as well. If you are putting down 20% down or less on a conventional loan, or if you have a government loan of some kind, make sure that you check the rules of the road there. And don't forget about the HOA fee. HOA fee is kind of like the sometimes Y in the AEIOU. It's there, even though it doesn't count go to the mortgage company, it still counts as a new expense for you, and you need to have eyes wide open. Here are some questions that you can ask the builders that sort of lay a lot of this BS bare, if you ask me. What's the property tax rate in this neighborhood? And what would my actual annual taxes be, including any PID, MUD, or any other districts, etc.? Make them give you a real number here based on the value of the home. That's the property tax rate plus any flat costs of the districts associated. PIDs, MUDs, especially in DFW, you really got to watch it, guys, because oftentimes they won't quote this out as one big net effective rate. They'll quote out the lower tax rate, and then you don't find out about the PID until you're signing the contract. That's not fun. Now, what does a home at your base price actually include? I'm standing in the model. What are all of the features that are not going to be here? The lower ceilings, the inferior flooring, the shorter cabinets, the no recessed lighting, all of the things that I love about this place. What are we not going to see at the one that I can actually afford? And if I finance this home with X number of percent down at this interest rate that you guys are offering, and I include taxes, insurance, and my MI, what is my total monthly payment? And don't forget about that HOA fee. And by the way, can you provide all of this in writing? Now, you don't have to learn all of this in one little YouTube video. this is the kind of thing that we go over on our webinars. So I'm going to suggest that you guys go to homebuyerSchool.com. That's our website for Texas first-time homebuyers, where you can sign up for a free webinar. Usually is like on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. If you can't make that, then we'll always have a replay for you. Go sign up so that you can get in line to get a ticket to one of our webinars. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to learn about a lot of special programs that are out there for first-time homebuyers as well. That's part of our jam. And it's kind of our specialty, and do me a big favor. If you know somebody who needs to hear about the big mistakes that first-time homebuyers make, please forward them this video. We would love to see both of you guys on the webinar. We want to make sure that this education gets out there and that people stop getting sucked into these bad deals and instead buy homes from a position of strength, negotiate from a position of strength, and go in eyes wide open. All right, go to homebuyerSchool.com and subscribe to this channel. This is new, this is fun for us. And if you like the kind of content that we're producing here, if this is helpful for you, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and go down to the comment section and let us know that this is something that you want to see more of. See y'all later, bye.